Thank you for downloading this in-ear entertainment podcast. You're listening to Shakespeare's Sonnets. Sonnet number 5. Those hours that with gentle work did frame the lovely gaze where every eye doth dwell, will play the tyrants to the very same, and that unfair which fairly doth excel. For never resting time leads summer on to hideous winter, and confounds him there. Sap checked with frost, and lusty leaves got quiet gone, beauty oversnowed, and bareness everywhere. Then, were not summer's distillation left, a liquid prisoner pelt in walls of glass. Beauty's effect with beauty were bereft, nor it, nor no remembrance what it was. But flowers distill'd, through they with winter meet, Leese but their show, their substance still lives sweet. Almost got to the end of that one. That was going quite well.
It was a very good effort. I would have stumbled. Well, I'm probably going to stumble quite a few times over that one.
Excellent. Hello, listeners. That was Sonnet number 5 by William Shakespeare. I'm Mark Chatterley, and I'm joined by the lovely
Thierry Heles.
See, we're getting better at the patter. And we're slowly going through all of the Shakespeare sonnets. So we're up to number 5, and that was number 5. I apologise for my stumbling. Almost got the way through, and it didn't quite work. I'm going to let Thierry start with this one, because I stumbled, so I'll let him start.
That's very nice of you, Mark.
Thank you.
Well, sonnet number 5, I think the most important thing that we should note right up front is it's a pair, basically, with sonnet 6. So if you are listening to this episode of the podcast, please also listen to the next one, which you should do anyway, but in this one it's especially important.
So you could actually put these two poems together and read it as one big, long poem. But that's not what we're going to do. That's not what we're going to do. We're going to do it as has been intended, as much as Shakespeare intended any of this, and have two separate episodes. So what jumps out at you in this one?
Well, I think we're very much continuing the theme of you are going to lose your beauty if you... you are going to lose it, but you should have children, so your beauty can continue in some way.
Yes, and this one, it's again taken, I guess, another different tact, and it seems to be going very much into nature, but rather than in the past, I think it was Sonnet 2, we saw there was the analogy with nature and how hideous you're going to look, the furrowed brow and things like that. It's using what would be traditionally beautiful imagery of flowers and summer and spring and things like that. Does that ring true?
He does say that nature also creates the beauty in the first place. I said the very first line, it says, "With gentle work did frame the lovely gaze where every eye doth dwell." So nature isn't necessarily evil. I mean, obviously, at the end, you're going to wither and die, but nature is also the thing that created your beauty in the first place.
And so, in a sense, it would be insulting to nature to not continue that beauty onwards.
Almost, yeah.
There's it makes a reference. Then were not summer's distillation left, a liquid prisoner pent in walls of glass. I'm guessing that's talking about like perfume and fragrance in that way.
Yes, I would say that he makes an allusion to the flowers will die eventually, and the only thing that would be left would be the artificial perfume. So whatever you do, nature is going to end.
And flowers which don't get turned into perfume have essentially lived a short life where they may have brought pleasure, but after they're gone, that pleasure's gone.
Pointless life, basically, yeah.
So you have to distill yourself down. And distillation is also a form of purification. So it does lead my mind, at least, to wondering whether part of this trying to get the young lover to procreate is about trying to make the beauty even more. With distillation, things get stronger. And so maybe with this, the beauty will gain through the ages.
That is an interesting point, actually. I didn't realise that one. Yes, but I do agree with that.
It'd be interesting to see how it goes. I mean, we still haven't really had any talk about the child, or in fact the mother, and we touched on that before. So it still very much is rested in the vanity part of this. I mean, we want you, or I want you to have sex because you look lovely, or are lovely.
We are, without going too much ahead, we are going to not have a description, or we will have a reference to the mother in sonnets. I think it's sonnet 6. It should be sonnet 6.
Okay, so it is coming.
The mother is fairly unimportant in this whole situation, but he is going to make a reference to the female part in this procreation.
About time. I mean, it's been going on for a while, it seems.
But if you have a man that's so beautiful, yeah.
Why look at women?
Exactly.
I mean, that hits home probably with some people more than others, but yeah, I can see the appeal of that. And I'm just sort of... There's a lot more imagery in this one. There's not so much you can... Whereas in some of the others, we've been picking it apart in terms of there was the very sort of business monetary transaction sonnet where you could pick it apart and figure out. This one is more straightforward, at least it seems to me, unless I'm missing. It's
more poetic in that sort of sense. He uses the seasons to describe human beauty and human decay, and I mean he goes from the gentle work did frame to I've lost the line now. Hideous winter. So he moves from that spring, everything is new, flowers are growing and blooming, and then in winter obviously snow covers everything and kills everything.
Which I suppose are the traditional poetic versions of the seasons. I mean, I'm quite a fan of winter. I like winter. I think winter's beautiful, but there doesn't seem to be a sense of trying to subvert those sort of poetic cliches, or maybe they weren't cliches back when he wrote this. It's very matter of fact. Spring is
this was very much how they understood the world. I mean, they lived from farming. Today you can go to a supermarket and you can buy strawberries, whether it's December or whether it's August. But at the time, winter meant that all the fields were covered, so they couldn't work. So their industries died, basically.
And life was put on hold.
Life was put on hold, and they had to live from what they made in the summer. And
yeah, so in that sense, hideous winter makes sense. Yes.
So I wouldn't really say that it's cliche, because that was just
the way it was.
The way it was, yeah, the way their world worked.
And the next couple of lines after, there were not summer's distillation left. So it's if we go with the analogy of the perfume being a continuation of the beauty, a purification of the beauty, the summer's distillation is something that gets you through the dark times. It gets you through winter, and so again it leads back to those earlier sonnets where there was the line. Paraphrasing because I can't remember exactly. The child will keep you warm when you're cold. When your blood is cold, you will still feel warm because of your child.
Yes.
So it's something that sustains. Sorry, go on.
And as you said earlier, the distillation is very much the reference to the real life perfume, because he also goes on to say a liquid prisoner pant in walls of glass, which, I mean, perfume is kept in vials or whatever, the bottles of perfume.
And I imagine in Shakespearean times, perfume would have been very, very expensive.
I can imagine. I don't know. There might be... we should have found that out before we started this.
This is the non-researched podcast about Shakespeare's sonnets. But I think that... I mean, part of the reason I want to do this is to have a modern look at them. I don't want to be bogged down too much with research. I mean, you could argue there's research and then there's ignorance, and where we're playing is maybe a bit... I'm more on the ignorant side, and I admit that, but that's what's fun about this. People listening to the podcast are going, no, perfume was everywhere. Everyone had it. Even the men wore perfume.
So I'm pretty sure Louis XIV was quite big on perfume, because they didn't have soap. So You washed with water, and then you had to use something to cover the smell.
Which is where brides carrying bouquets of flowers comes from.
Is it?
Wow, that's what I've heard, is that most marriages happened in May and June because that was when you could wash in clean water or fresher water, and then you'd carry the bouquet of flowers down the aisle because you didn't want a foul-smelling bride. A foul-smelling bride.
Wow. That actually makes sense.
I think that's right.
Very disgusting sort of way.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense in when the bride throws the bouquet to one of the bridesmaids. It's like passing on here, disguise your smell. You can find a husband now because you won't smell rancid for a week.
Oh dear.
I don't know if it's true. But yes, so perfume is obviously quite important, and in this, it's like the essence of his beauty being captured and then passed on, and that's where it kind of links to the "you must have a child" part of things. I think that kind of covers this sonnet, unless you have anything you want to add.
I think that's pretty much it. We should continue with Sonnet 6 and...
But I'm not going to let you get out of reading Sonnet number 5.
Ah, damn. It was worth a try.
It was. Right, I'll be quiet now. I'll shut up.
Sonnet number 5. Those hours that with gentle work did frame the lovely gaze where every eye doth dwell, will play the tyrants to the very same, and that unfair which fairly doth excel. For never resting time leads summer on to hideous winter, and confounds him there. Sap checked with frost, and lusty leaves quite gone, beauty o'ersnowed, and bareness everywhere. Then were not summer's distillation left, a liquid prisoner pent in walls of glass. Beauty's effect with beauty were bereft, nor it, nor no remembrance what it was. But flowers distilled, though they with winter meet, Leese but their show, their substance still lives sweet.
Very nice. That was Sonnet number 5 from Shakespeare's Sonnets. I've been Mark Chatterley.
I have been Thierry Heles.
And we will see you again next week. Or no, well, not even next week, in the next couple of days for Sonnet number 6. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. You've been listening to Shakespeare Sonnets with Mark Chatterley and Thierry Heles. This has been an In-Ear Entertainment podcast. To listen to other podcasts or find out more about In-Ear Entertainment, go to www.inearentertainment.com.